Hey there, hobby homesteaders. Welcome back to Peek's Peak. Today we are out in the shop, and while Cameron and Chandler are putting the transmission in his Miata, I'm going to do some work on my new bike. Got a 2012 Honda CRF250R. I have no idea how many hours are on it. I really have no idea what kind of shape it's in, other than I've done a little bit of test riding and all of that. But you get a new bike, you kind of want to go through it and make sure that all the maintenance is up to date and where it ought to be. So that's what we're going to do today. All right, so what we got on the list of things to do today is we are going to shim the valves. I've actually already had it apart and checked the tolerances, and one of the valves is out of tolerance. So I ordered a shim kit, and I've got all the stuff to change the crankcase oil and the transmission oil. Got a new oil filter. Got a new air filter for it, so we got to oil that up, and yeah. I think that's about it. So just basic maintenance, but these are things to kind of put you back to square one so you know where you're at on your oil changes and all that. And we should be good to go. All right, so to get ready to shim the valves, what we got to do is go ahead and we'll pull the plastics off, the seat off, the gas tank off, and that way we can get down there to everything. Got to pull the valve cover off and one of the side motor mounts, because when we take the camshaft out, we got to have that out to be able to get to that. So let's go ahead and start tearing it down. All right, so we kind of got her tore down to the point where I can show you checking the valve tolerances. I just take my tank and zip tie it to the handlebars there instead of taking the fuel line loose and all that. But anyway, get the valve cover off. You take this side inspection cover off, and I'll show you the mark. There's an arrow back in there. You see the dot on the crank gear back in there, and it lines up with that arrow. And that dot will line up with that arrow on and off of the compression stroke. So the next thing you have to do is come over here when you line them up and see if the two lines on your camshaft are where they're supposed to be. When you have these two lines lined up with the top of the cylinder head, then you know you're on the compression stroke, and the timing is where it needs to be for you to check your tolerances. And your valve clearances, I just checked the manual on the 2012. Your intake is supposed to be 5 thousandths plus or minus 1 thousand, and your exhaust is 11 thousandths plus or minus 1 thousand. And I took my valve shim kit and I just wrote them on there, so I don't have to look it up every time I go to make an adjustment. All right, so when you check your intake side, you actually have to kind of slide this from the front down in underneath, and you can see it sliding through there. On this side, it will not go, and you've got plus or minus 1 thousand. So if you take your 4 thousandth, if that goes, you're still okay, but it won't for us. So we definitely need to shim. Now let's check our exhaust. Our 11 thousandth on the exhaust side, and we are good, a little snug right there, but not bad, it'll go. So we only need to shim one side on ours. All right, so after we got the valve cover off, we checked our clearances and everything. I started to take the cam collars off, but then I realized I hadn't took the chain tensioner off yet, which is down here on the left side. It was right there. So we'll pull that off of there to take the tension off the chain, and we should be ready to get in there to our shims.
There is a fairly classed out, but like...
All right, so we need to take this side over here, and you want to be careful not to drop anything down inside the motor. So we got a nice little magnet here, so we can pull the lifter out and get our shim. Get our, and here's how small it is. See it on the end of the magnet there. So we'll go over there and figure out what we've got in the way of a shim right here and what we need to add or take away. All right, now see if I can show you here. I don't know if the camera will pick up. Yeah, so our new ones, they have the size printed on them, and this is a 1.7. The shims that we have in this are worn to the point that you can't read the number. And my caliper is not accurate to the thousandths, but I can, or to the 100th of a millimeter, but I can get a 1.8 out of our worn shim. And so that will give me kind of a ballpark if I make a comparison here and make an educated guess as to which one we have in and which one we need to put back in to make it work. So we've decided to go with the 1.7. We'll put it back together and see how that works. All right, so I use my magnet to put it back in there. And now we try to go back together and see what we can accomplish here. So far, we haven't lost our chain down in the bottom end, so that's good. Still 1 tooth off. All right, now, I don't know if you could see what I was doing there, but to set your cam timing, this bearing will slide out of its position right here and give you some slack to tilt it up so that you can move the chain on the teeth. And then when you're done, slide that bearing back into position. You got your 2 lines on the side of the camshaft, and you line those up with the side of the head, and we are back in time. Now I need to tighten it down and check my tolerances again and see if I chose the right shim. Now these cam collars here, you need to line them up with your bearing, and you can kind of slide your bearing back and forth and wiggle the cam collars, and you'll feel them seat down in there where they're supposed to go. You don't want to force anything, and then when you tighten these bolts down, I think they're like 13 or 14 foot-pounds, so we'll take it easy on that. No need to strip anything. All right, so we got our 5/1000ths here, which fits snug right in there, and same on this side, a little snug, but right in there. So we are dead on. All right, now we are ready to go back in with our timing chain tensioner, and I'll show you a little trick for this. They make a special tool that Honda sells for this, but a straight screwdriver will fit in here, and then when you turn it, see, it just spins that in. So what we got to do is get a good hold on it and twist this in and hold it while we put it back in the motor. And that's why the special tool is handy, because it takes a little bit of luck and timing to get it to all work out, but you can do it just like that. Genuine NGK Honda spark plug. I guess this is the only thing it fits because it was 40 bucks. This. That's why we bought a new air filter. It like even smells stale. Like that might be a Honda original. I guess this is how we're gonna do it. This stuff's supposed to burn. It kind of burns. All right, so this filter housing, it will only go together one way. See, your holes are kind of offset to the left just a little bit. This tab goes to the back. Put your spring on top. And then when you get it in there, to make sure your spring's in the right spot, you can kind of check your tension right there. Long bolt goes in the top, short bolt goes in the bottom. Torque spec on these is 9 foot-pounds, so yeah, it's like snug. All right, this bolt back in underneath the shifter right here is where it goes. Again, 9 foot-pounds. That's like not even an ugga-dugga. And a drain plug up underneath. Snug. They just informed me I made a major mistake here. They said I was supposed to pull the plugs out and then start it up and let it circulate all the oil out really good. And I didn't do that. Man, just blew it. Transmission oil holds 0.73 quarts. All right, the crankcase side actually holds about the same amount of oil, about 3/4 of a quart. All right, so this right here is where you check your transmission oil. Just pull this bolt out, pull her up level, and if she weeps out, you're full. Snug. Wipe the teardrops away. All right, guys. Well, I guess that's just about going to do it for this one. We've got it all revved up and ready to roll. Now, the problem is it's really muddy and slimy out there. And my bike's clean. So I don't think I'm going to ride it today. But hope you guys enjoyed seeing me get her all ready. Appreciate y'all watching. Y'all have a good day.